I would like to start by reminding all of us that the objective of science is to create and expand knowledge and develop new ideas that enhance our understanding of the world and that are prerequisites for innovations. But promoting scientific innovation is not enough. This knowledge should also inform evidence-based policy and governance to serve the common good, the contribution of science to humankind. Food systems and water systems and the way we study, understand, and manage them, they need to undergo a major transformation to achieve this end. Science should inform policy, governance, and investments, but policy, governance, and investments also need to promote science to meet the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals at national and local levels, and all the goals and targets that we will have after 2030. Our innovations and decisions, they are going to change depending on the place in the world where we are. As it was explained before, decisions should be local. And they will also depend on the population we are going to serve. There is a very, very big opportunity. There is a great opportunity in terms of innovation. If we understand the interactions between the different sectors, we cannot talk about the water or the energy or food systems alone or livelihood or environment by themselves as silos. We need to understand these interactions, and that is where the opportunity lies for more innovations. These are a few examples on successful innovations and failed innovations, or innovations as they were understood at that time. Innovations change, our thinking changes, and our resources vary with time. I am going to focus on addressing groundwater depletion in several examples. One of them is in the case of California, where we have the Central Valley. There is this enormous agricultural production, as a result of which there is groundwater depletion that results in subsidence, impact on infrastructure, and when we have droughts that are cyclical in this part of the state, the buffer we have is not there, which is surface water. Therefore, more groundwater is used, and this leads not to resilience, but just to the contrary, to enormous vulnerability. The innovation at that time, or for that situation, was the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. This innovation is meant to change behavior and to contribute to more water and food sustainability. The next innovation we have to the right-hand side refers to India. At that time, the innovation was the solar pumps innovation. So it was thought 1999, early 2000s, that by introducing solar pumps to pump groundwater, the farmers, the smallholders, they would be more independent. Clean energy would be used. There will not be the need to construct more tube wells. And subsidies were built, and the World Bank provided a lot of support. With time, it has been found out that the innovation didn't work out. There is no more food production, there is more aquifer depletion, and more impact on the environment. The smallholders are equally poor. So our innovation shouldn't be only from one point of view, but from a comprehensive point of view. Another example from a developed country, Spain, Campo de Dalias, that is in the Mediterranean arc. At that time, the innovation was irrigation efficiency, and is extremely efficient from the point of view of irrigation. The problem is that the area has extended so much, 26,000 to 32,000 hectares, depending on the source you use. And this has created serious problems on the aquifers that are represented on the right-hand side. So there is knowledge. There are very thorough studies, but that doesn't mean that the areas have been reduced. This also has had another unsustainability impact, which is the use of plastics, which in greenhouses is single use. So in order to continue providing food items, not only for Spain, but for Europe, this is a very important part for Europe in terms of food items. Not only more groundwater is being used, but desalinated water and reused water. So there seems to be a never ending to this growth. Now we produce the food. We are more or less sustainable in terms of water use. And once we have the food, with all its imperfection in terms of production, harvest, production, transportation, it comes the moment to transport it. And then we depend on much more than our trucks, but we depend on maritime, coastal, and inland points. And they are called the choke points. And where we face so many challenges to transport not only food items, but all sorts of items. Here there is a study that was done 2015, 2020, and it's calculated that precisely through the maritime choke points, maize, wheat, rice, and soybeans, we see them in the millions of tons. We have many problems. We know, for example, now for some time in the Panama Canal, because of the level of water in the canal, sometimes it's not enough. And in the Middle East, there are many problems, and this is because of political reasons. The result is the same. The items many times don't reach their point or the destination on time. So now let's imagine the food items have made it finally through all these points where we still have to innovate more. And then it comes to what Professor Amanathan said in the morning. It comes to food waste. We throw food, so it's not valuable. 2019, it is calculated that approximately 931 million tons of food was wasted. So we care about the innovation in terms of science, of technology, how we harvest, how to transport it, and then we throw it. So we are throwing not only food and water, we are throwing an enormous amount of innovation here, of ideas, of possibilities. And it's all over the world in the case of households, of poorer countries, richer countries, the waste at the household level is approximately the same. What is our innovation here? Now that there is artificial intelligence, and we think artificial intelligence will solve the world, it won't, as it was mentioned before, it can provide more information. In this case, we think, and it can be used for supply chain monitoring, different types of packaging, so that food lasts longer, it's not only plastic, and that we put people who need the food and who have the food in contact. These are our innovations. A small place that bets on every type of innovation. This is Singapore, and Singapore is only urban. Singapore imports from 180 countries the food items and imports more than 90% of the food it requires for the city-state. It has urban farm innovations, technological innovations, and also in terms of new forms to eat. So people know that eating insects is okay. I mean, we eat insects in many other parts of the world. Why people in urban places shouldn't eat? Why should be an alternative for food countries? I mean, for poor countries, it's an alternative, period. There is where the innovation lies. So despite all the decisions, all our innovations having to be locally based, our knowledge should be based on local information, geography, rainfall, culture. But even then, we have many things in common. These are the vision, these are the institutional fit, or how well the institutions align with the external environment where they operate, governance, which is decision-making, authority, administration, financial aspects. The actors, who are we? Are we producing knowledge? Are we transferring it? Are we using it? The windows of opportunity that were mentioned before, and these outcomes or transformation that come in different ways. So this is what we all have in common for our innovation. Examples of innovations where I have been involved, in which I'm working or I have worked, so I am more familiar. Water supply in Cambodia, a very poor country, the water utility delivers potable water. Let's remember that a main gap we still have to address in the world is not only to drink clean water, but to drink potable water. For us sitting here, this may not make a difference. For people living in a place where the water is not clean, it makes a difference. The water utility has full cost recovery, but they have a pro-poor policy. So everybody drinks potable water. City of Windhoek in Namibia that uses and has used from 1968 reused water or recycled wastewater for direct potable reuse, for direct potable use. Here there are many innovations. They open the doors for many further studies in terms of water quality. So they drink cleaner water that we drink in many of the developing cities and many of the developed cities. Out of the work that has been done in Namibia is that reused water is being used in many other parts of the world, again, thanks to science that has given us a better understanding on the pollutants. Another example, this is in United States. I said before, in California, the California Department of Water Resources, there is a Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. Will it be useful so that there is enough agricultural production and that the water is available? This is still a question mark. In terms of policies, they are always a question mark. In China, the Ministry of Water Resources, which is the extensive use of, well, development and use of digital twins of river basins as big as the Yellow River Basin. Through the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, sensors, extended realities, innovation, all this technology, all this knowledge is going into decision making. This is the innovation. And then we have the food system innovations. There are so many at local levels. And again, at food, well, from the seeds, right? For resistance to drought, resistant to heat, resistance to, they can grow in saline water. And all the local innovations, they come in terms of food production, processing, the marketing. The innovation here, the innovation we still have to address is, in addition to contributing to all the small or middle-sized innovations that there are, is to take food to the plate of the poor people. Rural areas, urban areas, peri-urban areas. That is where the next innovation lies and where we could pay much more attention. Thank you very much.